And good morning, everybody. It's Dan Latto speaking. Hope you're well. Welcome to the podcast. So, wow, what a weekend. We've got, obviously, we've got the whole situation in Ukraine going on, being invaded and things. It's all rather sad, isn't it? And watching some of the videos there, it's all pretty sad. But we continue, as the planet does. There's always stuff going on, isn't there? It's not to say that we can't acknowledge it, of course. Anyway, welcome to the podcast show. My name's Dan Latto, and in today's session, we're going to talk about 4 different types of website traffic that you can be driving to your website. And I use the word can be driving, but most often, most people aren't. They've probably got one of these going on, or maybe they've got none of these going on. They've got zero website traffic. But before you even get to looking at each of these 4 separate types of traffic, you've got to actually measure what is on your website. Like, what's happening on your website? How many visitors are coming to your website? And where are the visitors coming from? Are they coming from Facebook? Are they coming from Google Search? And unfortunately, on Google Search, there used to be a time when you could go into Google Analytics and it'd tell you what the actual keywords were, which is really cool because you can take those keywords and then you can move them over to Google Pay-Per-Click. And the top keywords that people are typing in, you know, they were the most popular. So you go over to Google Pay-Per-Click and then you put in those keywords. So you're getting organic results and you're getting paid for results. Obviously, you can't do that these days, but there's a different way around it as well. And one of the different ways around it, we're running some Google Pay-Per-Click ads right now. So one of the things you can do is think up everything you possibly can, put them in your Google Pay-Per-Click keywords, and then see what comes up. And it's really surprising. So then what you can do on Google Pay-Per-Click is once you know what these keywords are, that can help you rank for your SEO. Most people actually kind of don't realise that. And so you can cross over some of these. But anyway, we'll get into that a little bit further. Let's get into the 4 different types of traffic. So the first type of traffic we just talked about is Google. Google is hard these days. It's much harder than it used to be. 20 years ago it didn't really exist. 10 to 15 years ago was much, much easier. And we owned the first page on several key phrases, really. If you were a furniture packages landlord looking for a furniture pack, we would page 1, maybe not the top 10, but certainly 5 of those top 10 places were ours and our other websites. If you were in Leeds and looking for a short-term let or serviced accommodation or serviced apartment leads, like, we owned the first page of Google. Like, this is going back 12 years ago when we owned the lettings agency. And literally, at one point, we were driving 35,000 unique visitors every single month to our our lettings agency, which was amazing. If you typed in nightclubs in Leeds, we were number 1 for that. And you might be thinking, well, why would you want to be nightclubs in Leeds if you're a letting agent? And it's because the guy who lives in Southampton coming up to Leeds Uni, guess what he's checking out? He's checking out the nightlife in Leeds. He sees us, reviews of the top 10 nightclubs in Leeds. He clicks on us, he's reviewing the nightclubs, some drunk nights out for Dan ensued. But then next to that, there's different apartments that he can come up and rent. He's a student. Do you think we might have rented a couple of apartments? Absolutely. So that was, 10, 15 years ago. Has organic traffic still got relevance in 2022? And absolutely, it still has relevance. Is it the top thing that you should be doing? I don't think it is right now. I just don't think it is. I think you've got content and you've got paid and relationship traffic actually come above SEO and search and that kind of thing. However, having said all that, we've got a product and we've sold about £70,000 worth of this product over the last 2 years, all of our SEO traffic. All of it, or I'd say 75% of it actually, is off SEO traffic. we come up on the first page of Google for this, and we're selling it over time. So search traffic is definitely valuable traffic, but it's more of a long-term traffic, and it's probably not the first thing that you should start off on, because if you start off on that first, then what tends to happen is it takes 3 to 6 months just to even get traction. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's a year, 2 years even just to get traction. Depends on the competition. And I've had people go, oh, but Dan, you don't understand, my industry is so competitive. It's like everyone's industry is competitive. You're not out on your own, mate. Everyone's industry is ultra competitive. And so it can take time and perseverance and all that good stuff, But search traffic definitely has relevance in 2022. And if this is a chunk of your business that you're not focusing on or haven't concentrated on for the last 5 years, now is the time. Needless to say, this is one of the things we actually help our clients with. We're just taking on another SEO client who wants to get their website ranking better than it currently is. And it takes time. This is the key. And so it's a long, slow slog. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So let's talk about a sprint, not a marathon, which would be paid traffic. Paid traffic is like instant. You can drop £100 today. Facebook will probably spend that, if you don't put limits on it, within the same day. Like, you can drive a ton of traffic if that's what you want to do and you've got deep pockets in order to do that. And one of the things that always confuses us is when we see a major brand, they're running traffic and they're running it to a landing page, and it's just the worst landing page on the entire planet, and it's just so poorly done. And so that's always one of the things that kind of confuses me, is that people are running paid traffic. And some of them, we did testing for a solicitor in Leeds, and they were running paid Google ads, and they were sending it to a web page, a specific web page, which was awesome, much better than normal, except the web page didn't exist. So they created a Google pay-per-click ad, and they hadn't actually tested whether it went to the actual web page or not. And then we saw another one, and they were sending traffic just to their homepage. Well, it's like, that's completely useless. It's just a total waste of time. What the heck are you doing that for? But if you can get paid ads right, you can make quite a bit of money quite quickly. But getting paid ads right is really hard as well. Like, all of these is really hard. All of these takes time to get right. Yes, you can turn on the tap of traffic as you see these clickbait titles. And these little products that you buy for £30, all full of clickbait titles. Press button traffic. Click now and turn on the tap of free traffic forever. It's just bullshit, right? Everything takes a while. Everything. Like, if it didn't, do you not think we'd all be Facebook experts? I mean, we are. But our team are anyway. But people aren't Facebook experts because it's really hard. You're going to burn through all of your cash reserves if you don't get it right. This is why you should be using a company like us to go, hold on, the heck are you doing here? What's this? What are you sending it to this page for? That's your landing page? Like, are you serious? So you've got to be really cautious because it's really easy. You can blow £1,000 like that. Google pay-per-click, love it, wonderful. But boy, you can, again, blow £1,000 just like that if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not split testing, if you're not testing this advert against this advert, and this landing page against this landing page, and so on and so forth, and this headline against this headline, and this image against this image. That's the stuff that you have to do, that's the stuff that takes time, and that's probably why most people's paid traffic actually doesn't work. Next one then is organic. So let me just explain what exactly organic is. Organic traffic is like content. So we put out, we just put out a ton of organic traffic. Organic content. This, for example, is organic content, and it does a number of different things. I'm just going to go over to my page. So it does a number of different things, does organic traffic. One of the things that it actually does is it makes people aware that you actually exist. So that's a really good thing, of course, because people forget that you actually exist, and it keeps you in front of people as much as possible. The next thing that it should do is that it raises your credibility from being just someone out on the internet to someone who's actually knows what they're doing and can talk about what they're doing without it being pre-recorded as well, by the way, is quite important sometimes. Like going live and being able to, like, I don't know the words that are going to come out of my mouth. Womble. There you go. I had no idea that was going to come out of my mouth. So if you can go live and be perceived as the expert in your industry, then that really helps. Then the next bit is you're putting out a lot of content, images, and so on. And because of that, now people are starting to see you, and it's usually people who actually know who you are. And one thing I wanted to say just about the organic traffic, by the way, the paid traffic, is that the paid traffic should be directed at people who doesn't know who you are. So you're supposed to give out a lot of value, like a free download, a free training course, that kind of thing. The organic traffic is more for people who actually do know who you are. Now you're trying to build some kind of relationship, like a bridge between you and them, effectively. So they get to know, like, and trust you. But the paid traffic should be for people who don't know who you are and to build credibility or relevancy in some way or another. Organic traffic, let me tell you a little story here. So when we first moved out to Spain, obviously we lived in Spain for about 8 years now. And one of the things that we used to do when we lived in England, we'd jump in a car, we'd go to Manchester Property Networking Club, for example, we'd go on the expert panel, we'd go speak on stage. I've spoken a couple of times there, usually in January as like a plan your year kind of thing, NLP based and all that kind of thing. It was really good. Guess what we can't really do now that we live in Spain? Well, and for 2 years we've not been able to travel, have we? But we can't just jump on a plane, fly to Manchester and go speak at an event. That's really difficult to do. So one of the things that we had to do, we had no choice but to do it. We are the epitome of organic traffic. We couldn't go out and meet people at the Radisson, at networking events, at training events in the UK because we didn't live there. It just wasn't possible for us to do. Like every so often it might have been if we were there on happenstance, but our time there was so busy anyway. Every minute was accounted for. We couldn't just drop everything and go networking. So we had to change how we did things. And the way in which we changed how we did things was that we would put out content like this. If you have never met me, the only way you know me is through content like this. And so I was just checking, it's the last day of the month, it's a short month this month because it's February, and I was just checking our podcast stats, and our podcast is been the busiest month for the last 12 months by a long way, right? And we put out more content and so on. But most people have never actually met me face to face. They've never shaken my hand. Most people have either heard me on a podcast or have seen me on a live video or a pre-recorded video or a copy of this video that's gone out live and now we're watching it a week later. Very rare do we actually meet people face to face these days. It's just not done because we're not there. It's really difficult to do meeting someone face to face when you live in Spain, 1,000 miles away, and it takes you 7 hours to get there. 7 hours, by the way, because we have to drive to the airport, then you've got to wait for your plane, then you've got to get on the plane, then you've got to get a train. It's like 10 and a half hours round trip. 10 and a half hours on a one-way trip just to even get to Leeds. That's how long it takes. We need a private jet, obviously. We need to work a bit harder. But our entire business is based on organic traffic, and that's the point that I wanted to make there. We find it very difficult. We can't go to networking events. We can't go speak on stage. All the good things that you're supposed to go out and do. We don't even have business cards anymore. What do you need a business card for? I don't meet anybody. The only people I meet these days, the parents at the kids' school when I go pick up the little one, and the checkout girl at the Consum when I go buy some food for the day. That's pretty much it. Supposed to be at CrossFit, that's not happened. Other than that, I tend not to meet people very often. So we can't use business cards and all those traditional methods. We had to go online fully and immerse it, and that's been quite an interesting little adventure, really. We've learned a lot and we've failed a lot as well, and in that failure we've learned even more, and so it's a continuous journey of continually improving how we do our relationships online, through Zoom, through phone calls, through live videos, from podcast downloads, through posting out on social media, and so on. And so, that's what we've had to do, and we've built our entire business around it. Our digital marketing business has been very successful because of that. Let me just go back to that 1 second, actually, because one important thing I want to just kind of point out. Our digital marketing agency has been successful because of the content that we put out, and we didn't have a choice. We had to put content out, otherwise people wouldn't know it actually existed. But actually, because we were forced to do that, that's actually worked out really well for us, because now we don't have to travel an hour to go to Manchester to speak on stage and then travel an hour back. That's a 3-hour round trip. Now, I can go live for what we're coming up to 15 minutes here. I can go live for 15 minutes and then piss off to the gym. That's so much easier. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't go to the gym, but I could. But I can watch an hour and a half of Netflix now if that's what I wanted to do. It opens up so much more time, and people were so focused on pressing the flesh, as it's called, and meeting people. They kind of missed out on all this organic traffic and this getting yourself out there, this content type traffic of getting yourself out there and getting yourself visible. When I did then go to networking events, and I've been to a couple, you walk into a room, people go, "It's Dan." And you're like, do I know you? And we're going, yeah, I listen to your podcast. And you're like, oh, thank God for that. I don't owe you money. or whatever else I could get myself into trouble for. I've not upset you. Or maybe I have. So, you know, we've literally had that where you've gone to a networking event and someone, we had it where a girl, she was talking to me and then she's like, oh, I recognise your voice. And then she looked at my name and she went, oh, I listen to your podcast. And we've literally had that. And I'd much rather walk into a room and people kind of, oh, you know, and you can sense it, by the way. We've had this a number of times where you walk into a room and you're like, so I can sense somebody's looking at me. I'm not quite sure who. And you're looking around. There's a couple of people. So you just go up and you meet them. And they watch you online and they've never met you in real life, but they know who you are. It's like they're meeting an old friend. And I of course, have no idea who they are because they're watching me, not the other way around. And so the traffic and the content is what you should be putting out. And then just one final bit on organic content here. There's a saying, you're either being hypnotized or you're hypnotizing someone. You're either selling or you're being sold. And so this is the same with content. You're either watching content or you're producing content. And most people are 95-5. 95% watching content, 5% creating content. Let's face it, that figure's completely off. Most people are 99.9% versus 0.01. 99.9% are people who are watching content and just 0.1% of people actually creating the content. Turn it around. I'm not saying go 99% creation of content and don't take in content. I still watch YouTube. I was watching some training yesterday. I'm still getting training. But what I'm saying is that those numbers are really skewed. If you've not created any content, any live content today, what the heck are you doing? 5%, 10%, 20%, 40%. Imagine living in a world where you're out of all the content that you either consume or you create, you're actually creating 60% and you're only consuming 40%. Flip that around to how it actually is today, and you see a massive shift in the way that your business is running. You'll see a massive shift in your cash flow, about your ability to close sales just gets so much easier because people actually know who you are. You get somebody on the phone you've never spoken to and they've never spoken to you. It takes them a while to get used to how you speak. If they've watched 4 of your videos and downloaded 3 podcasts and laughed at one of your jokes, now you get them on a phone. Boy, that's so much easier to close a sale because you've dropped these barriers that, you know, are just traditionally there. Okay, last one then is relationship traffic. So what is relationship traffic? So this is some of the stuff we've just talked about. Writing a blog, for example. You know, building a relationship with someone through somebody else's website. Going to speak on stage is a relationship type traffic. Going and... relationship traffic. I just forgot one of the other ones. So writing a blog, going on stage, emails, sending out emails. If you've not got, you know, we've got like 2 years worth of emails. You go on my email list, you're going to get emailed once every, I think, 9 days or 11 days. I forgot what it is. But we've got 2 years of automatic emails that go out every single week. They actually go out at 11 o'clock on Thursdays, I think, every week. Or maybe it's 11 o'clock every 11 days or whatever it is that we've got. But anyway, the idea here is that we've got emails that are set up, that are already pre-written, that are going out to people on our mailing list. And the idea with those emails is to continue to build a relationship, continue to add value, but also to drive traffic back to the website. And if you're on a mailing list, you'll have seen these. Content, website design, Facebook ads. And then we've got other stuff that's interspersed, because I like the Gary V jab, jab, jab hook, you know, content, as in value, and then here's something that you can buy. And so I love that. And so that's what we use in our email system. But relationship traffic are things like just meeting someone for coffee, going and standing on a stage and presenting something, going and speaking at networking events. Going to networking events is a relationship type of traffic. And the whole idea is that you drive people back to the website. Now, one of the other things here with all of this traffic, and the thing that really should be tying together all of these pieces of content, is that once you've got these 4 up and running, and you don't need all 4, by the way, you can just have one. But you probably need all 4 in order to get enough numbers. Once you've got all 4, you actually go back to paid traffic. And the reason why you go back to paid traffic is that you go back to what's called retargeting. So if somebody lands on our website design page, chances are they're going to get served up an advert on Facebook saying, hey, I noticed you're on a website design page, but you didn't book a strategy call. Do you want to book a strategy call? click here and have a chat with Dan. And so because we're driving enough traffic to our website, it fires the Facebook pixel, and then now we're starting to get people retargeted. And so you need enough people hitting a website. It's like 1,000 people for the pixel really to fire. And if you're nowhere near that, you're going to really struggle. But the idea of driving traffic onto the website is so that you can retarget people landing on specific web pages. So if someone's landing on Facebook ads web page, they're going to get served up an advert for Facebook ads. Someone lands on a business coaching page, they're going to get served up an advert for business coaching, and so on and so forth. And so that's how it works. Anyway, that is all the types of traffic that you should be running to your website. You should have a strategy for each one, and if you've not got a strategy for each one, then you should be booking a call with us and having a chat about what you want to do with that. All right, hope that's useful. Have yourselves a wicked day. Take care of yourselves, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care.